Well, Beth, thank you so much for joining us for this face-to-face podcast and an Olympic special as well. And start off with many congratulations. 2 Olympic bronze medals from 1 Games is a pretty special achievement. How's it been? How have you found it since the Games and kind of coming to terms with bringing home 2 medals from 1 Games, which is a pretty unique achievement?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. I don't even know when the Olympics were now. I don't know what month I'm even on. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind. It's been quite up and down, just like emotion-wise, and yeah, I just feel like I've not really had any time at home really, because I've just been racing again and just all over the place. So yeah.
And seeing Taylor Swift, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I've not actually been really at home, so not really. Yeah, properly like caught up with people or, like spent any proper time at home for like a period of time.
Well, let's come back to a little bit of that a bit later in terms of how it's been. But let's just flick ourselves back to Paris really quickly and talk about those kind of events for you and how they went, because you kind of entered as both you individually and the Brits as well as like real contenders for medals and podiums. Obviously, so it proved because you brought medals home with you. But let's go back to that individual race first. A difficult morning with those weather conditions as well. Like, can you remember back to how you were feeling in kind of the day before and the morning before when you got to that start line? Were you feeling nervous? Were you feeling confident? What was going through your mind?
Probably a little bit of both, to be honest. Like, I obviously had confidence of like how the last couple of years have gone and just in my own ability anyway. So I was like quite confident going into it. But yeah, you just don't know, and especially with like throw-in wet conditions, anything can happen really. Like you can get stuck behind crashes, you can crash out yourself, or anything can happen. And I guess like with any race, anything can happen, but more so in the wet. So yeah, it was just about making sure that you just did all the little bits right, and like you just took good lines around the corners, but maybe just a little bit slower and with less pressure in your tires. So yeah, I think just everything, we just had to make sure that we did everything right.
When you got on that start line, was it just focus on the race, or were you able to have a moment to appreciate the journey? Because your story is quite an incredible story as to really how you've ended up getting there via 10,000 metres, having been to an Olympics before, and obviously everything that's happened subsequently.
Yeah, I think I did have a moment when we were like walking down the call-out bit, and I saw my mum and dad on the left-hand side, so yeah, just got to wave at them, and I believe they nearly didn't make it because my dad was still in the shower at 7 o'clock, so but yeah, they were there from when I walked out, so I gave them a wave. But yeah, and then it's just down to me, like I'm on the race course from that point and just do what I always do.
What did it feel like? Because you went in as in terms of pressure, because you went in as one of the favourites for a medal. A lot of people were building up over a period of a year, 18 months. Both yourself and Cassandra had kind of been, one had been to the 4, the other had been to the 4, and it had been this kind of battle. Obviously, it's a one-off event, it's one day, anything can happen, but the two of you kind of were being pitted, at least in media, as like you two are the favourites. Is that how you saw it when you went into it as well? I
mean, yeah, like both of us had a very good chance of coming out on top or getting on the podium at least. But yeah, there's always a surprise at the Olympics, and yeah, you just have to be aware of that. And yeah, I think we saw the race, and it was like the 4 of us, me, Cassandra, Julie and Emma were there, so you have 3 of the favourites were in that top group, and someone was going to miss out, unfortunately. But yeah, I think I guess that's what the Olympics does. It brings out something else, and it was a funny race because of the current and because of the wet conditions, and yeah, there were slightly different people in that front group to usual. So yeah, there was always the opportunity that someone else was going to sneak on.
Yeah, and let's go to that swim, because I mean, watching from afar, obviously the currents looked absolutely bonkers, but a great swim from you, a tremendous swim. You must have been absolutely delighted when you got out of the water.
Yeah, I think like one thing I've really worked on in the last 18 months, 2 years is, like consolidating across swim and bike, and like I feel like I'm fairly bulletproof across those two now, and yeah, that was the aim. That's what we had kind of set a goal for. Like I had to be in that front group because there's no point in being able to run for a medal if you're not in the front group, because you're not going to do it. So that was the whole focus. And yeah, I'm really like happy with where my swim's at. It's been really good this year, and even my biking. But yeah, the swim was definitely challenging with the current and the conditions, and I think I came out top 4, so yeah, I can be really proud of that.
Yeah, I mean a tremendous swim, but for somebody who comes from a swim background, let alone somebody who's had to really work at this. And then you're kind of out on the bike. Obviously, most important thing first and foremost is to stay upright. We saw a lot of people not doing that in those conditions. But you're kind of, let's fast forward. You're well into the race now. You're kind of probably beginning to think about running. In your mind, are you in a strong position? Are you in the position you wanted to be in, or are you in a dream position? Was your dream position something else? Like, how were you feeling about that? Were you, I guess what I'm getting to is, were you thinking, yeah, if it comes down to a running race and it's me and it's these people who are around me right now, I can do this?
Yeah, like it's like no lie, like I've been finding it a little bit difficult to find my kind of stride a bit this year on the run, and I don't know why. Like I've thought many hours about it, and I just don't have a reason at the moment. But it's just something, when I'm in races, just I tighten up and I just don't feel like myself. So I really had to, I mean, all my races this year, I've really had to kind of mentally just like talk myself through the run. And I never usually feel like I want the 10K to end, and as soon as I've been getting off the bike, I've been like, oh dear, this is a long way. So I think it was just about breaking it down for me, and I knew that if I was still there by the last lap, there was still 4 of us there, and I actually said to myself, like, you're not coming home without a medal, so get a move on.
Did you have that? Did you have that in the back of your mind? Were you consciously thinking in the Olympics themselves, coming onto that run? I hope that I don't feel like that today, or were you able to block that out in that moment?
Yeah, I just tried to block it out, but yeah, you just don't know, and I think maybe part of it is just the kind of pressure and anxiety, and like that was on my shoulders going on to this year. Like it's been a lot, and it's like it's difficult to like manage and deal with, and some athletes do it better than others, and yeah, I feel like I've done a pretty good job of it, but still it is hard, and coming off the back of such a good year last year as well, it's just it's a lot.
Is that pressure that you feel like you've put on yourself, or is that pressure that other people are putting on you?
Yeah, I think it's like definitely pressure that I put on myself, but then it kind of, I guess it is other external pressure as well, because you've got sponsors, and you've got people that have invested a lot of time and energy and everything else into you, so you obviously want to do you want to do well for them as well, because it's almost like you want to say, like, obviously repay them some way, and not that they think any differently of me, but it's it's like you want to do it for them, and I had in the back of my head the disappointment of Rio as well. Like, I didn't want to have another disappointing games. I didn't want to feel like I was cursed by the Olympic Games. So I think to go there and like to race really well, and just like get the best out of myself on that particular day, I think was really good.
So when you came across the line, then you kind of know the result. Then you won bronze. How are you feeling at that moment in time?
Oh, just like relief that it's all over. Yeah, like I know that sounds like really anticlimactic, but I think it was just like relief that it was Wednesday and it was 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was done.
That's interesting. I wonder, have you thought, would my reaction have been any different had I been further up the podium, further down the podium, or would I always have just thought, I'm just so glad this is over, really?
It's just done, yeah. Like, I think part of you really there was definitely parts of it that I enjoyed. Like, I really enjoyed the journey, and I really enjoyed, like my time in Spain, and, the whole lead up to the race, and even like over the last 3-4 years, I've really enjoyed the training. But I think it's just been there in the back of my head that this one day, and I was just glad it was it was done.
Okay, well, I want to talk to you a little bit about getting over that moment, or the process of getting over that. But let's quickly nip onto the relay as well, because you've got 2 medals. So let's talk about that one a little bit. So let's fast forward to your leg all the way through. You've had to wait quite a long time. It's a very unique relay to have to be so long as a spectator. Wherever you start or finish, your fate is in other people's hands until you get a go. When you took the tag then and you came in, what did you think? What did you think about the position you found yourself in, and where you felt like you could get to?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, because you can think, and I have thought over a 1,000 times now, like, well, what if I did this? What if I did that? But our team strategy was to commit to the race and to go, and we had a gap, and I committed, and I knew that at some point I was going to get reeled back in, hopefully without the Germans, but the Germans came along too. So it was just, like you couldn't think, oh, if I sat up and waited, we might have had the same outcome. So, I think I did as best as I could, and and it was hard, and I actually got detached a bit on the run as well, and I managed to run myself back into it. And I think it was, in the end, a very exciting race. The fact that you race for 80 minutes across swim, bike, run 4 times, and you have 2 males, 2 females in your team, and it came down to like half a second separating gold to bronze. So that's brilliant for our sport.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic race to watch, and it was obviously an incredible, remarkable finish. Who knows whether we'll ever see another finish like that again, let alone in an actual Olympic Games. But kind of when you then kind of came across that finish line, that really was the kind of the Paris journey done. Had you felt the same level of pressure and anxiety before the relay, or was it kind of a bit less than what you felt for the individual? Were you looking forward? Could you look forward to the relay?
Yeah, I was looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong, I was looking forward to the individual. It was just more like the whole, you just wanted it almost to be done, because it is just a lot of pressure. It's a lot of emotional energy, and I think it's to some extent, standing there in the warm-up area, like, doing my warm-up, but still trying to keep an eye on where Alex, George and Sam were in the race. It was nerve-wracking, and then when I saw that we were out front, I was even more terrified that I was going to be just left out to dry in the race. So it was definitely nerve-wracking, and also I think you carry a little bit of pressure, being the last leg and having that kind of pressure to bring it over the line first, and like you can only do the best that you can on the day, and I think we all had really solid legs, and we were able to deliver like a really solid performance. I
mean, it's very easy to say from the outside, but I wonder if you could take any, I guess, inspiration from the fact that your journey is so remarkable that let's wind back 2 years ago, even maybe. You probably weren't going to be in this relay team.
No,
and yet
exactly.
Here you are on the last leg.
I think definitely. I think you've got to look back and see where you've come from, and I think that's one thing that I'll be like on this emotional roller coaster that I've been on since the Games, and I don't know, I'll be feeling down about something, and my dad will phone me up and remind me that he's like, you're a double Olympic bronze medalist and you're a world champion. Like, put it in perspective. So I'm like, fair enough.
So you've talked there about the emotional roller coaster, and you said at the beginning kind of ups and downs. Like I guess it's human nature to feel like I understand the ups, which are incredible journey, amazing achievement, like the likes of which most people can only dream of at the end of it. What are the downs? What have you been feeling that's like this?
It's really weird, because obviously I competed in Rio in the 10K and had, I was ill in that race, but realistically the best I was ever going to finish was like a top 12. But like coming back from Rio, I was disappointed and ended up changing sports. But like I feel like it's been like a different sort of feeling, and I was surprised by that. Like having won 2 medals, like I thought I would be like really happy, and I don't know, but it's definitely been like a lot of like, again, what ifs, and just doubt and self-worth like questions. It's weird. I can't really explain it, but it has been like quite up and down.
Do you feel that's what ifs and doubts that are things that you've got in your mind, or do you think that those are things that people have placed upon you?
No, I think it's just more like me, but I don't know whether had I got like a different colour medal, whether it would have been the same. You know, like, so I obviously won last year at the World Champs, but you know, like, I don't know if, like, was I ever actually like really happy with that? I don't know. Like, you're always just thinking about the next thing. So like I did that, but then you're always thinking about, okay, next year Olympics, and then I need to try and defend that title. Like, you're never actually like enjoying it for what it is. And I thought, you know, after Paris, oh, I'll come home and I'll just get straight back into training because that's what I know. And I think actually needed to do the complete opposite of that. And like I did that in between Boston and Chicago, and like I had a much better race in Chicago. Like, still not amazing, but a lot better than Boston.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think sometimes you do have to sort of break the mold of it.
Well, I wonder as well, like, I don't think of breaking any state secrets to say, like, it's been a battle for you to get to, you know, to change sports, to obviously all the things you've had to learn and all the progress you've had to make, the kind of fight then to, I guess, to be, for want of a better phrase, taken seriously as a triathlete, whether that's in competitions, getting starts, getting federation backing, getting sponsors, and all those things that come with, that are required to be a successful athlete in kind of the format that you're racing. I wonder if how much of this is kind of human nature, because you've fought and fought and fought, and it's been a fight a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, knowing you down the years, it's been a fight that you've had to go, and then suddenly the end goal of that fight has kind of happened.
Yeah.
And I guess there's an inevitability of a, well, kind of what now? Like, what's the next thing in my life? Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard to process that quickly.
Yeah, I think you need a bit of time, and like I didn't have any plan. Like, I knew that Super League was happening. I knew I had World Series races after the 31st, but I hadn't really, like, I couldn't tell you what dates they were on. Like, I knew every single date up until the 31st of July. Like, I actually thought the relay was on the Sunday and not the Monday. So like, I didn't even know. So yeah, like, I think it was just, everything was just focused on that one day. And yeah, so I didn't have like a sort of plan afterwards. I knew that, and I knew that Taylor Swift was on the 19th. So those are the two dates that I knew.
Well, the most important ones, obviously. So you've obviously talked a little bit about how you've reacted to it. How have you found like a general reaction to it? That people around you, but then also people outside of your scope, like, you know, we live in a bubble of media and social media, particularly in professional sport. Like, how have you found dealing with all of that?
Yeah, I found like the social media side quite hard. Like, my sister's been doing it for me a little bit, just to kind of, yeah, you don't want to read too much into comments and like stuff that's been said online. But yeah, I think, yeah, like, I had so many family and friends that came out to support me, and like a lot of people came out, and people travelled from Australia to come watch me, and yeah, I really felt like the support there. And yeah, it made me realise that I've got a really good group of people around me, and they were all so happy. Yeah. And they were all buzzing. But at the end of the day, I'm just the same Beth to them. You know, like, I may have 2 more medals, but you know, we still do the same like things outside of sport. You know, we still hang out and go out for dinner and have barbecues and walk the dog together. So it's like, I'm still the same person, but yeah, I've just got a couple extra medals now.
Well, that's nice, because that surely puts into perspective that for the people that really matter in your life, none of it really matters. Whatever happened that day doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, they'll still be there at the end of the day, and they'll still love me. So, and that's definitely what I realised.
So the social media stuff you talked about, I'm interested to ask a little bit about that, because, you know, I'm assuming that you were doing your own social media until your sister's taken over. What were you? What was it? That's kind of made you feel like you need to back off a bit and kind of not be looking at it?
I think, the vast majority of people like who interact with me are very positive, but then I think just like naturally you tend to cling to the negative comments or the not very nice things that people say. And I think it's just kind of more about the language that people use. Like it's, I don't know, like like asking me how I really feel about bronze, or like stuff like that. Like those sort of questions aren't helpful and are not very like sensitive. And like when you look at it, the bigger picture, most people, most of the field, most of the athletes at the Olympics come home without medals. And I think it's very difficult to actually perform in that one day out of 4 years, to perform in that one day and bring home the goods. So I think sometimes the language and almost commenting on things that are out of context that they don't know much about. They're just looking at the last 3 minutes of a race where you've put your whole work's life into it and then making a comment. It's just, I think people need to sort of, I guess, think before they say, because at the end of the day, you are like a human behind that at the end of the day. So I think some people's comments are a bit insensitive.
Do you think it's almost harder in a sport like ours that for athletes, because okay, if you, I don't know, let's go to one end of the extreme. If you're Cristiano Ronaldo, you've probably got a team of people who do your social media, and you probably never bother looking at it. And there's probably about, for every post he puts up, there's probably, I don't know, 4,000 comments calling him all the names under the sun. But whatever, it's almost like there's so many that it doesn't matter. Whereas when you come down to our level, the kind of scrutiny that people can put on, you're going almost directly to the athletes. There's no way that they're not going to see it. You haven't got a team of people around you. But you're still an elite athlete. You're still racing for gold medals at the Olympics. But you're way more exposed to this. Yeah,
I think it's just not helpful. And I guess, I think people just need to be a bit more sensitive and can I just say, like, the vast majority of comments have been nice. But it's just
most people are lovely.
You cling to like the one or two, or 10 or 15 that are not so nice, like so. And I think it wouldn't usually bother me as much, but because I've been feeling the way I've been feeling since the games, like, you just cling to everything.
So kind of like, I guess if you're going through a what ifs, then other people saying, well, how, are you actually happy about this? It only feeds the animal.
Or like, just making comments. I had quite a few people making comments about they're really like, oh, the other three were great, you were shit, like, well, look at the results. Like, they don't go on to Triathlon Live and look at the breakdown, like they just see it on TV and they just make a comment. But I mean, it doesn't, I don't really care at the end of the day. Like, now, like, once I've calmed down a little bit, I can like look at it pragmatically and not get upset about it.
Well, I think that's a very good way of dealing with it as well. And you've actually like taken a constructive step to deal with it, like step back, have somebody else help you while you.
I think there were a couple that people. This is when I was still on my social media. I think there were a couple of people that making comments, and then you don't want to reply because you don't want to seem like it bothers you, but. I think a couple of people were jumping in and like replying to them, but it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got 2 Olympic bronze medals to take away, and that's that's the bottom line, isn't it? And most people who are commenting, I'm sure, haven't got any, like most of us, haven't got any. I think that's one very difficult thing. I think the other really challenging thing, and what's really become clear with speaking to a lot of the Olympians around here, is that there is a constant desire to ask athletes, well, what next? Are you going for LA? Are you doing whatever? And that, I guess, must be really hard to deal with as well when you're still in this processing period. I'm sure you must be experiencing that as well.
Yeah, I've had a lot of what next sort of questions. And honestly, I don't really know right now. I don't think I'll know until, I don't know, sometime in the new year. But I would obviously like to go to LA. That is in the plan. I'm going to take some time off at the end of the season, probably a bit longer than I would usually. Just kind of let my body heal, like physically, emotionally, mentally. And then, just spend some time at home and build up again and see how I feel. Well,
very well deserved, Beth, because I think for you, probably potentially more than anybody, it has been the way that this has happened in the last 5 or 10 years. It is physical, mental, emotional, and it's, you know, it's been a big ask, an incredible journey for you to get to where you've got to. So I think you probably deserve a bit of a break.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I've already got it planned, so
Nice.
well, loosely planned.
What's the plan? So
Well, get the racing done, and then I want to have like a bit of time at home in Scotland. I am going to spend some time in Dubai, and then I might join David on a work trip in Thailand. I don't know yet though.
Well, that all sounds
Just planned.
I guess that sounds pretty good.
I don't know which order that's all going to be in, but yeah.
Okay, well that sounds nice. There's some sunshine and some relaxing in there.
I just need to liaise with the dog kennels, my mum.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Yeah, I've got some ideas and some options, so that should be nice.
Cool. That sounds great, and you really deserve a break, and you deserve a moment as well to reflect on your journey to get here and your success as well, which has been very, very hard earned. I think it's fair to say. So, Beth, many congratulations again, and thank you so much for speaking to us today.
Thank you. Thanks.